and welcome to the Direct Selling Success Podcast. I'm Anna Green, and I'm here to share with you tips, tricks, and training on network marketing done right. Thank you for listening.
So I thought I'd get really productive this week and start as I mean to go on and create some new habits within my business, some new systems and processes and ways of looking at my diary and my calendar that are going to get me doing more with the time I've got. Hence why I am here at, what time is it? 9:10 on a Monday morning, already having done an hour of work, already feeling super productive and ready to go. And so I just thought I'd come on here and give you some hints and tips this Monday morning. So one thing that I really want to talk about today is ghosting in the DMs. Who here feels like they send out messages to people and get absolutely nothing back? They don't reply. They've seen the message because you can see the little tick or you can see their little profile picture, and they're just not replying to you. And you can send out dozens and dozens of messages to potential clients, to potential recruits. You're sending out this amazing thing that you've got that you know is amazing, but you're just getting nothing back. And I hear it so often. So many of my audience in my Facebook group, when I ask this question, who gets ghosted by their audience in the DMs when they send messages out? So many people. And when I speak to people who are my clients who are saying, oh, nobody's replying to me, nobody's listening to me, I'm putting this stuff out there and I'm just getting nothing back, I get it. And I know why it's happening, and I can sort it for you, and I'm going to hopefully sort it within this next 15 minutes. Fingers crossed you get some results from these things that I'm going to tell you to do instead of what you're doing right now. Now, ghosting, if you've never heard the term, because I know some of you might be, my age and above and don't get these terms really, the social media terms, the modern terms that people are using nowadays. Ghosting basically means that you are being ignored in message. You're being blanked, as if they can't see you, basically is what it means. But what I want you to think is that I want you to think of it in a different way, because actually you're probably not being ignored for the reasons that you think you're being ignored. Most of the time we think, oh, they don't like me. They don't want to answer because they're going to say no, because they don't want what we've got, or they think I'm being really spammy, so I'm not going to answer, or they're not going to answer. Or it could be that they hate you. None of these things are true. None of these things are true at all, right? Most people are not ignoring your messages for any of those reasons. They're not ignoring them because they're not interested a lot of the time. More often than not, you're not giving them enough of a reason to want to answer. And it is simply that. And I'm going to give you a few things that you can start to alter when it comes to feeling like you're ghosted. The first thing is our mindset around this. So I want you to start to think, instead of, this is all about me, your messages to people are all about them. It's for them. It's not for you. Well, it is for you because you want to make the sales or get the teamies or whatever it is you're asking them, or, whatever it is that you're messaging them about. But this is them, right? And they come into this space in the DMs in the same way that you do, for them. They use social media, they use messages in a way that suits them. When we're looking at what is going on in their heads, it's not what's going on in your head. You're wanting to sell to this person. You're wanting to get this person to say yes because you want that. What they want is a completely different thing. And what they're thinking about is probably not what you're playing in your head. That whole, oh, they hate me, they rejected me, it's just awful, all this stuff up here, right? It's probably none of those things. So what we've got to do is we've got to start distancing ourselves from what we think they are thinking, because we don't know what they're thinking. That's the first thing. And then what I want you to do is look at these 6 things that I'm going to talk to you about when you're thinking about sending out these messages, okay? Because what will happen is if you can start to see things a little bit differently and message people with a different attitude and a different method, I think it's going to change what you're doing. So the first thing I want you to think about is the relationship between you and them. If you're not getting many replies, it could be that there's not enough of a relationship between you and them. So I get dozens, and I mean dozens, of messages in my DMs across social media platforms. I get dozens of emails from people that I have never heard of before, that I have no clue who they are and particularly what they want, other than the fact that they want to sell at me. And I think this is really key to remember if you are literally just getting a copy-paste message-ish, tweaking a few bits, sending it out to people, and you're sending it out to people who don't know who you are. You are going to get ignored a lot of the time. And you're often going to get a lot of no's if they do reply. And that's okay. If that's the way you want to run your business, then great, but you've got to expect it. Because somebody who has no relationship with you is not necessarily going to reply to somebody that they don't know. They're probably just going to mark it as spam. They're quite possibly not even going to hit the inbox because you've no relationship with them. It might head into like the junk folder or into that weird message request box on a lot of the social media platforms. So they don't even see it. So it could be that there's not that relationship there. If there's not that relationship there, why should they reply to you? Are you making it compelling enough, which I'm going to go through in a bit, but really, why should I reply to the dozens of messages from people saying, come and buy this thing, or I can help you scale to blah, or oh, I can show you how to get 15 teamies in the next 2 days with this automated blah. You know, I'm not going to bite with those. I'm also not going to bite to somebody who tries to sell me something in the DMs that they don't even know that I want. I mean, I get so many, and you must get so many as well, that you don't reply to because you have no relationship with this person. All right? So really think about the fact that if they're not replying, is there enough of a relationship built? That's your first thing to check on your messages. Because the majority of the time, if you haven't got a relationship with this person, you're not going to get much of a response. Okay, so that's the first thing. Second thing, to prevent the ghosting, to prevent that not replying. Maybe they're not replying because they don't see it's for them. If it's not, how do I explain this? If somebody sends me a message and it's just kind of generic, or it's about something that really doesn't apply to me, why would I reply? So if I get a message that says I can help you build on LinkedIn, don't want to build on LinkedIn at the moment, thanks. And I don't know who you are because there's no relationship. Or maybe there is a relationship and it's just like a drop in there and we've never really had any communication about building on LinkedIn before, for example. Why would I reply? It's not for me. That's just a generic message. I'll park it for now. It's not really my thing. Maybe they're not replying for that reason. Now, I am the sort of person that if I'd got any form of relationship with that person that was DMing me about something like that, I would reply because I know how awful it is when people don't reply. So I'd probably reply and say, oh, that's not for me, thanks, that's okay. Nobody's going to take offence at that, it's just not for me. But if I'm not that sort of person, or I don't like saying no to somebody, so if your audience don't like saying, oh no, that's not for me, because it makes them feel icky about rejecting you, they're just not going to reply, okay? So again, don't take it personally. If you're sending stuff out to people that they can't see that it's for them, either you've got to tweak your messaging so it's really targeted at them and their problems and their desires, and you've built the relationship up, then you might get more of a response. But you're still going to get some people who just don't answer because they don't like to say no, or they don't see the reason for replying, okay? The third thing to think about is the value you're putting in that email, the compellingness. That's not a word, but you know what I mean. Okay, so if in your email or your message or your approach, you are not showing the value in them replying, why should they reply? Really think about it, because, you know, if you just send a message out, like Jill's, just for your information. Let me use Jill as an example. If you just put out, this is just for your information, here's what's on, there's no value in them replying. Unless they really, really need the thing, why should they reply? And that's fine. But if you want a better response or a better conversion rate, give them the value in replying. Give them a compelling reason to reply to you. And that could be all sorts of things. So have a think about how you could make those things compelling to reply to. Also, when you're selling something in the DMs and you're wanting somebody to buy something or join something, or you're offering them this amazing opportunity, again, it has to be super compelling. It has to be something that they want, need, desire, solving a problem. Not all based around, oh, I've got this thing. It's got to be, I've got this thing that solves this problem for you, and I know you've really got that problem. So that whole thing there can make such a difference to the outcome of your messages. And if you want people to reply, make it that thing that they want to reply to. Make it compelling enough that they think, yes, this is for me. Okay? Next thing, number 4. People will reply to messages more often if you ask a question. Are you asking a question? So if you want a reply to something, but you just link drop, why should they reply? They'll go and have a look at the link if they want to. There's no reason for them to reply because you've not asked them to reply. You've not asked them something that you want them to respond to. And I know this sounds really obvious, but we get really het up about this. That's a bit of a Yorkshire term, isn't it? Het up. We get really angsty about the fact that people aren't replying to our messages when we're just sticking a link in there. Or when we are sending them an offer and then saying, let me know what you think. Or let me know if you're interested. What do you get from that? What response do you get? You get nothing, because if they're not interested, they're not going to let you know. If they forget about your message, they're not going to let you know. If they have to go away and think about it and then life gets busy, they're not going to let you know. Ask the question, because when you ask the question, you're going to be able to come back and say, oh, you didn't answer my question. Follow up. You're going to be able to reply and say, oh, do you know what? I asked you this question earlier on this week. I'm not sure whether you've seen it. Ask the question again. Ask the question. And it's a really simple thing that so many people miss out on because they just don't want to feel icky or pushy. The question doesn't have to be icky or pushy. It doesn't have to be, are you going to buy my thing? It can be, are you interested in this thing? Are you interested in hearing more about this thing? Whatever it is, ask the question. It's just one simple tweak that you can make to every single DM you're putting out there. Whether it is a, oh, thanks for following me. How was your day been? Thanks for following me. Where did you find me? Not just thanks for following me. It can be something else that builds the conversation. Questions build the conversation. Questions build the opportunities. Okay, number whatever it is, 5. People have lives. People will not respond to your messages instantly if they're busy. People will not be using social media or their message box in the same way that you are. People have busy lives and they also use social media very differently from you. There's certain people, goodness me, that use social media maybe once or twice a month. and you're expecting them to reply to a Facebook message like that. Oh, some people use Facebook, Instagram, TikTok all the time and have hundreds of messages coming into their inbox, and you're expecting them to reply just like that. People have jobs, people have kids, people have lives. They don't use social media like you expect them to a lot of the time. So I want you to start remembering that people will open a message and then forget about it. They might have read it, they might have thought, oh, I'll come back to that when I'm not at work, or I'll come back to that, I'm just about to get in the car, I'll come back to that. Do they remember? No, because you're not their priority. You are not their priority. They are yours. They're your priority, but you're not theirs. And you need to remember this. So follow up is key. Okay. If you send a message out and people don't reply to it, as long as you've got the relationship and you've made it so it's all about them and they see the value in replying and there's a question on it, follow up. They might have missed it. They might have been meaning to reply. They might have forgotten about it and be putting it off, like you put things off all the time. You know that message that somebody sent you a little while ago that you thought, oh, I need to reply to that. Go reply to it. Think about how it feels from your point of view when you don't reply to messages. You feel like you're being ghosted. But think about how you respond to messages and how you're busy and you forget sometimes, or you mean to, or you don't want to let that person down because you're worried about what they're going to think of you if you say no. So you're just going to ignore it and hide it in a cupboard and forget about it all the time. Yeah? Okay, remember that, okay? They're busy people and you are not their priority. Which brings me to the last one, which is number 6. It's not personal. And I want you to really remember this. People not replying is not personal. And I vaguely mentioned this at the beginning. It really isn't personal. So people contact other people in a variety of different ways, and people respond in different ways to those things that are being put out there. If you put something out there that is, you're putting a DM into somebody's inbox that is full of value and you know it's going to be perfect for them and it solves all their problems, and you've asked a question at the end to see whether they want any more information about it, you built that relationship up, you know that this is for them. If they don't respond, if they ghost you, it is not your fault. They have a life that has other things going on in it. They might not see that this is for them. They might be busy. It's not you. It's only you if you are being pushy and icky and like nasty in these messages and they're not replying. That's the only thing. And I know people on here that are listening to this right now are not those sort of people. Because you're not my people. You wouldn't be watching me. If you were my people, you wouldn't do that. So I know that your message is coming from the heart. And yes, it might not be a perfect message. And yes, you might feel icky about sending it, but you're not an icky person, so it's not going to be icky. So send the message, okay? And expect the reply. And if you don't get the reply, follow up. And then follow up again. And, follow up and maybe connect with that person in a different way. Maybe they're not interested in that thing. Maybe they're not seeing that message. Maybe it's they've not built enough of the relationship up with you yet. Go back through the 6 questions that I spoke about and see what actually it is. And some people will, some people won't. What was it I was taught? Some will, some won't. So what? Jog them on. I remember a great lady telling me that. So really think about, it's not ghosting. They don't hate you. As long as you are doing this with heart, with authenticity, with integrity, and you're thinking about other people first, it's not you. I hope this helps today. See you all soon.